Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the new episode of Ambassador's Lounge. Yesterday we had a very tragic incident, a terrorist incident at the Imam Baga, which martyred 31 innocent people and 169 people were injured. This terrorism act has shaken the capital, not only capital, but the entire country. And this was an act perpetrated by those who do not want peace in the country. And definitely there are external hands in it, and this has caused a wave of anger in the entire spectrum of Pakistan's politics. And this also serves as a lesson to everyone that we have to put our act together and we have to fight it together. And this is what we have been doing at least ever since 9/11 happened. And it is continuing. Today's episode is about Iran-US talks which held in Oman. And prima facie, there was only one-point agenda, and it revolved around Iran's nuclear program. And you know that there's a background to these talks. This was sixth round of talks because Iran took it as a resumption of the previous suspended talks between Iran and the US. It has given some hope, but at the same time, there's some despair. And the despair is because of the uncertainty which revolves around the entire issue. It is just not Iran or its nuclear program. It is about Iran's political system, its expansionist tendencies, which caused, you can say, discomfort to the region, especially to Israel. And Israel is the major force behind everything you talk about the Middle East, especially between Iran and Israel. And this is continuing. Even during these talks, Israel had a say in a sense that Jared Kushner and Witkoff, they dashed to Tel Aviv before coming to Oman. So so you can deduce your own inference that Israel is very much kept in the loop, and Israel would be contributing to the talks to secure its interests. So to discuss this issue, today I have my dear friend Imran Yawar, Ambassador Imran Yawar. He has a deep knowledge about Iran. He served Iran, and then he has always kept himself abreast of the developments in Iran. So, Imran, welcome.
Thank you, mate.
And so I just touched upon the talks. If you can please elaborate this, how you see it taking place in Oman.
Thank you very much, Asif. But again, before I address your question, of course, Ambassador's Lounge as a whole offers its condolences to the bereaved families whose loved ones were martyred yesterday in that dastardly terrorist attack. I'm sure the government is taking action, and soon those culprits would be caught. Now, coming to your question, Asif. See, the talks, they took place amid the heightened regional tensions. There are regional tensions, and those regional tensions have been there since the last year, when the May attacks last year. So these talks, as everyone knows, they were indirect negotiations. They were between US and Iran with the mediation of Oman. There were many stories before that the other regional countries would be involved, including Pakistan, and that it would have a broader agenda. However, Asif, I thought no statement has been issued by the Iranians, no statement has been issued by the Americans, except the Iranian Foreign Minister, Mr. Araghchi, said that the talks were held in a positive atmosphere and they were good talks. More than that, nothing was said. So there was this complete silence on this. Now, what I thought was that there was nothing concrete discussed. As I see it, since nothing was there. Basically, I think that was the talks, multiple round of talks were held, and they were dedicated to deciding the framework, the scope of the talks. Obviously, we all know that the Iranian point of view is different and the American point of view is different. Iranian point of view is that the talks should concentrate on the nuclear issue only. But the Americans believe that the talks should not only include the nuclear issue, it should include Iran's missile program, it should include Iran's support for the proxies, and as Mr. Marco Rubio said, it should also be concerned about the rights of the Iranians, what had happened after the protests. So basically, I think the initial rounds were dedicated to discussing the framework, and I don't know whether any side compromised on their point of view or they gave in to each other's demands.
But don't you think that prima facie, and as far as the history of this conflict is concerned, it revolved around the nuclear issue, Iran's nuclear program. The later other issues are, you can say, United States added it later on, including Iran's missile program. Secondly, its policy in the Middle East. And now they are talking about the proxies. So, and then you have just said about that what happened in Iran during the demonstrations. So these are the added points.
As far as nuclear issue is concerned, you see, Mr. Trump is in a fix. After the Americans attacked the nuclear sites, 3 nuclear sites, Fordow, Isfahan, and Natanz, Mr. Trump had stated that we have obliterated Iranian nuclear program.
Yes.
Now, if they start talking about nuclear thing, what is he going to take back to his people? You see, he has ramped up things so much, increased the hype so much that people expect something. Now, if he takes his beautiful Armada back, the flotilla back, without anything, he has no face to show. So, simply concentrating on a nuclear issue is not enough for Mr.
But don't
Trump's
you think
ego.
that American institutional mechanism would come into play and then tell Mr. Trump that just hitting 3 facilities is not enough?
It's not enough.
And Iranians are not so naive that they would only expose those facilities which are already under IAEA safeguards. These 3 facilities which were hit were not secret facilities. Those were under IAEA safeguards, and United States actually violated the IAEA safeguards.
You got right.
And so in this way, no facility anywhere in the world under the IAEA safeguard would be safe. This is, clearly you are flouting the international norms, international rules, which they did. But right now, overall, when you see different analysis, one point was common that the United States took the advantage of demonstrations in Iran.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely.
And they wanted to actually push it towards regime change. How far have they succeeded?
As if regime change, it's a far-fetched idea. I believe it strongly. Regime change is a far-fetched idea unless and until Americans, number one, put the foot on the ground. Number two, they have some person or some group or some leader inside Iran who can unite the people. At the moment, I at least don't see any personality inside Iran which has the capacity to unite the people, to gel the people.
Do you
together.
think that the existing
And the monarchists who want to bring in the son
Crown
of late Shah, the crown prince, I don't think crown prince has that that aura which can to unite the people in. There would be a limited number of people who are monarchists and who would support his coming back, but he would be considered as the lesser of the evil.
But do you think that there are any chances of survival for any opposition leader or group in the current dispensation?
Asif, no. You know it better. You know it better, mate.
So in that respect, when we talk about that, I mean, they are likely to sit across the border, perhaps, not inside the country.
See, the very thought of changing the regime, it doesn't make sense. In the last elections, Mr. Jalili, I think it was, who was against Mr. Pezeshkian, he secured about 14 million votes, right? Then they have these Basijis, then they have the IRGC, then they have the army, 600,000 plus army, 350,000 reservists, right? So their institutional strength, as you were talking about, is so strong that it would not be possible. And if they succeed in eliminating the political leadership, what will happen? There will be a power vacuum, and who will fill the vacuum? It would be the IRGC most definitely.
Imran, we shouldn't forget that what pushed the people to come on the street was their economic condition. This currency plunge, in fact,
exactly.
Caused this unrest in the country. And this is something which would be, you can say, it can erupt. These are the issues.
Definitely.
Whether there is alternate leadership available or not. It happened, say, in Tunis.
It did.
Yeah,
it did.
And it happened in Egypt.
Yes.
So here, I think how much you are concerned that these things, especially when Iran is pushed to the wall, especially with regard to their economic conditions, so the people would be restless. And that may cause not only unrest, but instability in the country.
Asif, definitely. That will cause I think the foremost issue for the government present dispensation is to come up with solutions to the problems of the people. American attack, they have sustained before. They resisted it. In fact, I think Mr. Trump was taken aback when after American attacks, he was expecting that the Iranian regime would come to the negotiating table. Iran did not come to the negotiating table because it had absorbed what Americans did. It absorbed what the Israelis did.
Right.
But there was no reaction among the people. Now the people are agitated, right? So if such a thing happens, the fear is that the people may come out again thinking that the regime is weak, it is being bombarded, they may come out united. And that could lead to greater instability. I wouldn't say even then the regime will change, but it would increase the instability. As if regime will not change unless and until a substantive amount of IRGC people or the army, they change sides.
Correct.
They have not changed sides, and there are no indications that they will. The regime has very strong support of the institutions.
Correct.
And unless and until something happens here, there will be no.
Well, right now there are no indications to that direction. And then this brings us to these negotiations. Let's go back to the negotiation. And as I said, it was almost a one agent of party.
Exactly.
But we don't know about the outcome. There was only a statement from Foreign Minister Rakshi that it was a good meeting and they will resume it. They will resume the meeting. If that is the case, then what do you expect of the forthcoming session? and they have not announced the dates of the next session yet. And then added to that is that earlier there were 4 or 5 countries
Exactly.
who were supposed to join the meeting to be held in Istanbul. But at the behest of the Iranians, the venue was changed to Oman. And it was only Omani's mediation which was, you can say, endorsed by the Iranian side, and not these countries, including Pakistan, Egypt, UAE,
Turkey.
Saudi Arabia, and Turkey. So, what was the reason for this change?
As if this thing, in fact, jeopardized the talks. It was said that, reported rather, that the Americans had refused the Iranian request to have these talks only bilateral, and to shift the venue from Istanbul or Ankara, wherever, to Oman. Now, initially, Turkey, Egypt, UAE, Saudi Arabia, they had all agreed, and there was a lot of diplomatic activity,
Yes.
a lot of diplomatic activity taking place between these capitals and US and these capitals. So these countries who were initially responsible for encouraging the two sides to come to talk, they presented their own framework for the talks, which included a number, and initially Iran was agreeable to having these countries participate in the talks. But then came this framework by these 4 or 5 countries. One was that they said, they suggested rather that there would be zero enrichment for 3 years. After that, Iran would be allowed 1.5% enrichment. Mind you, JCPOA said 3.64%.
Yes.
Then they said that the highly enriched uranium, 60% enriched uranium, or 400 kg, which Iran has, it should be exported to the third country. Russia has already agreed to take it in. Third, they said that Iran will not provide technological aid or will not arm its allies,
Correct.
Houthis or Hezbollah or Hamas. This was one thing. And then they came up with another idea, which I thought was very attractive. Not for the Iran. They said that there would be a consortium of the countries, the Middle East countries, for nuclear and enrichment purposes. So Iran realized that, the Iranians realized that this was not what they were asking for. It included the missiles, that Iran will not initiate any missile attack. Right? So Iran was, I think, a bit concerned that this framework which these countries had suggested, it violated or it did not agree with what they were planning.
But Imran, if you may have seen that these are the countries actually which persuaded the United States
Absolutely.
away from war. The war clouds were very much there, hovering over the skies. And Iran also appreciated the efforts of these
It did,
countries,
yes.
especially Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Pakistan. But as you said, that why did they bring in their own agenda, these 5 countries, for the talks between the US and Iran?
You see,
Any idea about?
What I think is that, first of all, there is a rapprochement between Iran, Saudi Arabia, Iran, UAE, Iran, Qatar. I mean, Iran is on better terms with these countries now. Nevertheless, Azhar, these countries are still wary of Iran. Just imagine Iran, if the sanctions are removed and Iran is allowed to sell its oil, and what
That's conditional. In any
what
case.
I'm saying is, if these things happen, just imagine how Iran would develop and what would be its position. In Shah's time, it was known as John d'Arc for the region. So I think these countries were wary of this one thing. Second thing, we cannot be oblivious of the fact that Houthis are still a source of concern for the Saudis and for the UAE as well, and for Oman as well. So they are taking into account of that. And Iran's missile program, Asif, is of concern to all these countries. So that is what Iran saw, that these countries were trying to bring into play their own interest as well.
But Imran, isn't it contradictory that on one hand there's rapprochement between Iran and the Gulf countries, all Gulf countries, and on the other, there's a suspicion which is going around, and there's mistrust between these countries.
Mate, you are a diplomat yourself. You know that in realpolitik.
No, fine, but the question is, they played a role in dissuading the United States not to go for the military option.
Yes.
They had a role, and I think that was, you can say, laudatory role, also Turkey. And in any case, Iran is a reality. That's besides the point that if the United States is not agreeable to the Iranian system, political system, there are many other countries where those systems are different than the United States. And the United States cannot dictate its terms all over the world. But here the negotiations were supposed to be conditional in a sense that if Iran complies with the nuclear do's and don'ts, then as a result, the United States will have to lift the sanctions.
Yes.
No one is talking about that.
But that's what Iranian condition is, that we will talk about nuclear aspect of our program, nuclear program, and in return, Americans will remove the sanctions on Iran.
Nothing is coming from the United States as far as removing the sanctions are concerned. While Iranian enrichment level is discussed.
Yes, you're right.
Right and left.
Yes.
But no one is talking about how much they are going to reduce the sanctions against Iran. And how can then Iran, give space to the United States? So it takes two to tango there.
And this brings us to another point, Asif, which you can also comment on. Why does the US want to broaden the agenda? Iran says only nuclear, discuss with us our nuclear. And even in nuclear discussion, they have certain reservations that this is our red line. But Americans want to broaden the agenda. What's behind that?
I think then that has more to do with the geopolitics which Americans are trying to play, because then in their scheme of things, it has to do with other powers like Russia and China. And they want to broaden the canvas. Already they have a very close relationship with the Gulf countries, or at least they are dictating their terms with the Gulf countries, which are actually, you can say, number one agenda setters in the Middle Eastern politics. So here, United States would want to exercise its control on the agenda as well as Middle Eastern politics. So one aspect is that, which I needed to highlight. And other is the overall situation. Now, what Trump's agenda about Europe, you have seen yourself. And they say this NATO is almost in tatters. And then what happened with Canada and what is happening on this Greenland issue.
Absolutely.
So it is, in fact, dividing the Europe.
But I thought that one reason why Americans are determined, or they are demanding, and Rubio said that it has to include everything. You in your intro said that Mr. Witkoff and Jared Kushner were in Tel Aviv before coming to Oman, and there they met Bibi Netanyahu, they met the defense minister, they met their army chief. I think, and you would agree with me, that Israel's role in these talks is pivotal. Israel is totally, as you used the word loop, Israel is totally in the loop, and Bibi Netanyahu and Trump are in regular contact with each other. As far as missile program is concerned, Iran's missile program is of great concern, very great concern for the Israelis. Israel, in the last war, Israel saw that its Iron Dome, the myth of Iron Dome was broken.
Correct.
Not many, but 20, 30, 40%, they managed to go and cause a
Correct.
significant amount of damage. So Israel believes that it will not be able, if an all-out war breaks out and there's a barrage of missiles and drones, Israel will
Correct.
not be able to sustain the damage. Right? And this, I think, Mr. Trump also knows that. So, the inclusion of missile program is basically because of Israel's interest.
You're right. But how you see it is unfolding? Because in the overall geostrategic scenario, when you look at it, and the United States in competition with China and Russia, and then it's not so comfortable with other countries also, whether it's in Latin America or in Asia. And then here, and we are also placed in a region where I think geographically we have to face many challenges, whether it's our eastern border, whether it's our western border, and then Iran is a neighbor. So what do you think that how things are going to unfold from Pakistan's perspective?
Absolutely. You see, if there are hostilities, we will not be excluded from its consequences, right? You were talking about China. Yes, but then you also, if China imports a lot of oil, 80%, I think.
Almost, and it's a 90% trade partner.
Trade partner.
Yeah.
But you have served there twice. You know that there is a train link also, which links Iran to China, to Turkmenistan, to Afghanistan.
Yeah.
So, and it's
not Afghanistan, but yeah.
No, it doesn't go to
not really.
Okay.
Through Turkmenistan, then onwards to Uzbekistan.
That's a good train which can transport oil, which can transport.
They have run that.
They have started that. They started probably I think May or June last year after these attacks. So yes, Pakistan will not be exempted. We cannot escape the consequences, but neither can the region. There are the US bases are scattered around the region. And this is one thing which scares the countries like Saudi Arabia, like Qatar, like UAE. They have their bases there. Bahrain has the bases there. Jordan has bases there. So these countries are scared of Iran's missile program. And that is why they insist that Iran will not initiate missile warfare against anyone.
Correct. And then these countries also warned the United States that they will not allow their bases to be used.
But then that also means that their bases will not be allowed for Iranian missiles to go to Israel.
Yes.
So Iran still has
it would be. Listen, if Israel violates the airspaces of those countries,
which it did before last.
So then Iran, you can't, forbid Iran not to do that. You can't.
But you see, if Asif, you tell me, if Americans decide to commence hostilities against Iran, and these countries, Iranians are the Americans' fleet is in the Arabian Sea, right? Now they can fire. What will the Israelis do?
It's from military point of view, it's the military experts they can tell us. But the common knowledge which we have seen is that from the bases where an attack would take place, say from UAE or from Doha, Iran did that against Doha in the last June.
Yeah, but that was
exchanges. No, the question is, if that can happen, it can happen again. So Iran made it clear that any bases from where these attacks would emanate would be a target. And it's natural because that is supposedly is American territory. It is no more the territory of those Gulf states because they have given that territory to the Americans. So I think that would be, a common sense that those would become vulnerable.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, on this aspect that we are discussing, you think that Iran is going to reconcile on the nuclear issue?
Interesting. See, if you go see the statements of the foreign minister, Mr. Passer, actually in one of the interviews he said that Mr. Trump wants us to compromise on our nuclear program. Am I using the right word, compromise?
Yeah.
He wants this Iranian nuclear program to be pushed back.
Americans want shut down, in a sense, don't produce the enriched uranium.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Mr. Arakchi said that if that is the thing, a deal is possible, right?
Not to produce uranium.
Yes, I think, Asif, Iran could agree to zero enrichment. This is my
Fine. Yeah.
Iran
It has a
could
merit.
agree-
Yeah.
Iran could agree to zero enrichment. Iran could agree to export the highly enriched uranium
Yeah.
because Iranian leaders have said that we have no nuclear
No inclination to make a bomb.
Exactly.
Yeah.
but they are not going to compromise on their missile program because that is their defense.
That in any case is not, you can't link it with their nuclear program.
Well, Trump is linking it.
Yeah.
So they will not compromise on their missile program because that is their defense. They are not relying on their nuclear program for the defense. Their defense lies in their ballistic missiles program, which they have. And they have made, according to reports, they have made enormous progress on that. They have just put in their new missile, Khurramsher 4 or something like that, which has a range of about 2,000
And they have already penetrated into the Israelis,
Absolutely correct.
Iron Dome.
Absolutely. So Israel says, okay, let it be, or let their nuclear. Let's not discuss about the nuclear program. We must talk about their missile program. And second is the Iran's support for its regional non-state allies like Houthis, Hezbollah, Hamas.
Correct. So that leads us, I think there are many complex issues if we sum up these. There are many complex issues, but foremost is number one, nuclear. Second is, which will not be on the agenda, but the Americans would be working to that direction, is the regime change.
Absolutely correct.
These are the twin issues. Missile is, yes, that is there, but that Americans also know it, that Iran is not going to compromise. So are the Israelis, they know it. And they also have the necessary wherewithal to counter Iran. They have air superiority in any case, which they had demonstrated during the June war. But it was Israel's missile program which, in fact, saved the day for the Iranians, and that would continue. So, in my view, these are the overall, you can say, the sketch you can draw about the likely scenario here. Please add to this and conclude the.
Okay, right. Now let's see what Mr. Trump has said that probably next week these talks will continue. I have a feeling that the two sides have agreed to something which they are not revealing to the public and to the people, to the press.
You think so?
I think so. But then they are keeping it to themselves. They said they will discuss it with their governments. This is my feeling.
But your feeling is, raising our hopes?
Raising hope in a way that has Iran agreed on some grounds. Both the sides have to give and take. This has to be give and take. What has Iran given?
But what the United States will give?
It has to give sanctions. Iran has reiterated a number of times that the sanctions have to be lifted.
So shall we finish it now? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Like the dialogue between the United States and Iran has been inconclusive, so our discussion is also inconclusive, but with the hope that since both sides are talking and there is a goodwill as far as the region is concerned, Turkey, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Gulf and Oman are there. They have been persuading the United States not to adopt the military course. And for the time being, the threat of war is over, but you never know, because this can come about and it can come again. You never know. So uncertainty remains till the time that the United States and Iran come to an agreed conclusion. And let's hope and keep fingers crossed.
And this is an evolving story. So
it's an evolving story, but we thought that we would share whatever has been discussed till now. And hopefully that some good news will come, hopefully, because we'll be hoping against hope. And that's how the international affairs are conducted in this world. And this is what we have to learn, and we have to be careful. Thank you so much, and keep watching Ambassador Lounge. And please subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much.